Honda has finally officially unveiled the Prelude, and I'm a little bit confused here because of the pricing. It seems to be pretty expensive compared to other Honda products. We're gonna have a look at this design. Also, Mugen has come out already with a body kit and completely transformed this design. I think that is exactly what the Prelude should have looked like from the start. Honda has a sport package for this that comes from Honda themselves, which is a little bit more subtle than the Mugen one, but I definitely like the Mugen for sure. It looks great. So before we jump into Photoshop here and have a look at this design and also compare the Mugen one to the regular one, look at this beauty right here. These small details, and it's thankfully they put silver wheels on here instead of black ones. But before we jump in here and have a look at this this design, let's check out this article from Car Scoops, and let's see what all the spec and tech and the pricing for this is all about. Before we go any further in this video, I'd like to take a minute to thank today's sponsor, Factor. Living a healthy and active lifestyle isn't always that easy because you have work, you might have kids, relationships. The last thing you really want to do some days is to start cooking your meals. Now, Factor gives you the flexibility to stay active without succumbing to quick cheat meals when short on time. All you gotta do is just throw in the package in the microwave for 2 minutes and you're done. Now you're fueled with a meal that supports the lifestyle you're trying to keep up with. One thing I really love about this product is there is no refined seed oils, no refined sugar either. It's just real food from Factor. Factor makes portion control very easy because each meal has around 350 to 550 calories per serving. That is 3 times as many new weekly meals than before, with more chef-crafted restaurant quality meals, and they taste great. It's 2 times more seafood meals than before, including salmon, shrimp, barramundi at no additional cost. You also have my favorite, which is 2 times more high protein meals to choose from, including beef fillets, turkey, shredded beef, and meatballs. This is the plan that I am on because I like to have that high protein intake and not have to think about it throughout the day, and I think you should have that too if you're trying, for example, to build muscle. On top of that, there is also a new meal customization option that allows select proteins to be swapped at no additional cost. For example, if you love chicken but you dislike pork, you can switch that up at no additional cost. So make sure you head to factor75.com, click the link below, and use my discount code BAMBLYFB50 for 50% off, plus free breakfast for an entire year. That's code BAMBLYFB50 at factor75.com for 50% off, and you also get free breakfast again for an entire year. Thanks to Factor for supporting the channel, and now let's get back to the video. New Prelude cost more than a Nissan Z with twice the power in Japan. So Honda's hybrid coupe costs more than a Civic Type R, and the base version of the Nissan Z, and it also costs more than the Toyota GR Supra in Japan. So it's available from $41,700 in Japan. Honda is also offering a limited edition with black roof and mirrors for $43,700. Designed as a sportier, more premium two-door counterpart to the Civic, the Prelude shares the same basic platform but positions itself as a step up in style, handling, and equipment. I do think this the Civic looks good. I do like it because it has this long hood that shoots out straight from the A-pillar, looking very, very cool. This doesn't look bad at all, but it still has some strange proportions. They took inspiration from a glider plane when they designed this. I'm not entirely sure why. So buyers can choose flame red or crystal black pearl at no extra cost. Then you have meteorite gray metallic for $260, and then you have this, which is, I think, the most beautiful spec right here with the blacked out mirrors. I would just switch out the wheels, but this is a moonlit pearl finish. $560, comes standard with 19-inch black wheels and the blue calipers. I think it looks pretty good though, but look at the wheels. We can't see the wheels. It looks like it doesn't have any wheels. It's just a black hole right in the front, right in the side view of this vehicle. We definitely need to switch those out. I do like the blue accent here in the front end because that comes back in the brake caliper itself. Pretty good looking vehicle, this thing. Side view, again, looks a little strange. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. There is also a more exclusive Honda On Limited Edition featuring a black finish on the roof and mirror caps, exclusively combined with this moonlit pearl white. This one costs $43,700. Now the Civic, look at the prices here. The Civic pretty similar hybrid setup, and that one starts at $27,600. This one, $41,000, is pretty crazy what you pay for, I guess, styling. In some cases, I do agree with if you buy a beautiful, you buy for the you buy a premium, pay a premium for the beauty of the car. I'm just not sure if this is that big of a step up when it comes to design to justify this price. The Civic Type R is priced at $33,700, so almost $10,000 less. Even the larger US-built Accord sedan comes in lower at starting price is $37,800. So its pricing does raise some eyebrows when compared to other Japanese sports coupes. Surprisingly, the hybrid costs more than the locally made Nissan Z as well. That one has a starting price is $37,100, and that one also comes with a V6 3-liter twin-turbo 400 horsepower. That's 100% the one that I would go for sure, and also save a lot of money buying the Z over the Prelude, even though the Prelude still is a good-looking car. So with that pricing, it's fair to say more than a few people will be asking what the heck Honda was thinking. The first production run limited to 2,000 units. It's described as a specialty sports car. That is, I guess, how they're going to try and market this and sell this. Exterior design takes cues from gliders and engine-less aircraft that rely on air current to stay aloft. This influence is visible in low nose profile lines and wing-shaped LEDs in the front end. Of course, here we have some cool pictures. You can see the sketch right here. Here you have the glider design with this front cockpit, I guess you could say, similar to what we have in the hood line here going in. And I think that the driver sits almost right in the middle of the vehicle with a very almost like a cab forward design for the side view. But this sketch looks great. You can see some more pictures here, how they developed this vehicle and how they worked in the interior and so on. So inside, you have elements from the Civic and the Integra 2+2 configuration. Describes the Prelude as a car you want to drive when going out with someone special. That is what this car is all about. The front seats are different. I'm not sure what they mean, if the front seats are actually different in design or like feel, because they say that the passenger seat offering a more comfortable enveloping feel, while the driver's seat is focused on delivering support. Very interesting to see. I don't think I've ever seen that, like two different styles of seats. You have a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster, 9-inch infotainment screen with Google built in. Buyers have the option of upholstery combining deep blue and white or black. I would probably go with these, with the deep blue and white looking pretty nice here. You can see the interior. The interior looks great. We have physical buttons here looking fantastic. Nice steering wheel. I think this is straight from the Honda Civic. The integration of the infotainment screen could have probably been a little better, but it's not too big. And we have the gauge cluster as well right here. So beautiful, beautiful looking interior from Honda with the Prelude looking great. So it's powered by the Honda plug-in hybrid self-charging hybrid system. It's not a plug-in hybrid, it's a self-charging one. 2 electric motors, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Combined output is only 200 horsepower though. I would want to see this at least 280 or something like that. That would make it a little bit more reasonable for this price. They also have this Honda S Plus shift using effects to simulate gear shifts despite the lack of mechanical gearbox. So if the Japanese pricing is any indication, this will probably cost about $10,000 more than the Honda Civic plug-in hybrid when it comes over here to the States. I do love this line in the front end. Very sharp, going into this very nice chamfer here and sticking in like this in the headlight unit. This is a beautiful looking front end. We also do have a LED in the front end here. I do believe a light bar right there. So let's jump in Photoshop here. Have a look at this design, compare it to the Mugen one that we do have on the right, which I think, as I said, I think this is what the Prelude should have looked like from the beginning. I mean, this just changes up everything about this design. The only thing I don't like about the Mugen one are the side mirrors. These are a little bit too eBay style or Alibaba or something like that, AliExpress. Looks a little too much for these ones, because the design of the Prelude is such a simple design with these lines going down here. We have the bumper clearly defined, looking beautiful. and the intake in the lower section, everything having a curvature to it, exactly like I want to see. In combination, of course, you have a line here that has some nice line flow to it going in from the side, cutting into the front and right here in this corner, and you have a nice looking shoulder line dipping down and connecting to the bumper line. Very, very beautiful looking design. Now looking at the original one, you could get this with the sport package from Honda themselves, which adds not as many details or features like we have in the Mugen one, of course. It's just a little bit more subtle than that. But you can see the daytime lights here looking beautiful, and I do like how this line cuts in and creates this little corner piece going into the headlight unit, and also how the headlight unit itself is all blacked out with the housing for it. Of course, you do have a daytime light up here. Intake in the lower section, again, looking very, very functional. There's no fakeness going on in the front end of the Prelude, which I definitely appreciate. Now look at the side view. Here you can see, if we draw out the head of the driver right there, he sits almost a little bit further back, but almost in the middle of this. And this is a front engine two-door coupe, meaning that I feel like the greenhouse should have been moved back just a little bit with the A-pillar right here. Even though the A-pillar, if we draw this out, it kind of goes straight into the center point of the front axle. This is the reason why I want to see it move back a little bit. By this much, you can see just how much we need to move back the A-pillar to make it look like a proper two-door coupe. I do like this line flow that we have in the lower section we talked about, because it has a connection. If we zoom in here, you have a small little sort of indent right here that has a line to it that then connects to this side line going down in the rear end. And of course, the shoulder line starting from the greenhouse, it doesn't really start over here, even though we do have a muscle over the rear axle. Shoulder line going down here, going in to, of course, connecting to the bumper line. If I draw this line correctly, you're gonna see that it goes into right here, the bumper line right there. Beautiful, beautiful proportions. Even though I do wish the greenhouse could have been moved back just a little bit. Now look at the rear end. By far my favorite view for this vehicle, as pretty much 95% of vehicles, because I do like the light bar here, even though it might have been overplayed in some aspects, some brands. In this case, I feel like it's very, very natural to have this light bar in the rear end with this big diffuser in the lower section as well, sticking up pretty high up here. That is, of course, what we want to have, because this removes a lot of the mass in the rear end visually compared to the front end, where it does not stick up as far as it does in the rear. We want to have a much more nimble looking front end, and then carve out the volumes in the rear by using graphic features. That is exactly what they did right there. Beautiful looking roof line as well going into the rear end. Now looking at the Mugen one from the rear, love this little subtle carbon fiber spoiler up top. This is not too much for me. I definitely like how this is integrated right here. And we also have these exhaust pipes and a much more aggressive diffuser with the carbon fiber pieces down here in the lower section. Looking very, very cool. I actually think this looks like it could have come from Honda directly. You can also see the side skirts here, carbon fiber pieces, looking beautiful, almost like 458 Italia style with these things going up here in the side. Looking very, very cool. And of course, the biggest change here is going to happen visually is going to be the wheels. Even if you just take this regular Prelude right here and slap some silver, pretty much exactly these BBS wheels right here on it, is going to transform the entire design of the vehicle. And you can actually appreciate, of course, the spoke design here. That is all I'm asking for when it comes to wheels. It actually looks pretty good when we have a red outline like this around the wheel. I think that would maybe suit this vehicle. I'm not entirely sure. So very interesting news from Honda. The pricing is a little crazy to me. We're going to have to wait and see what this will actually cost when it comes over here to the States.